We've all been there. The washing machine is beyond repair. And all you want to know is which new model you should buy. Well, that's where the Which Just Buy This recommendations come in. Hand-picked recommendations that our product testing experts think you should buy. We've got over 50 products with a Just Buy This recommendation, from dishwashers to TVs, cordless vacuums to fitness trackers. And yes, it can be useful to spend time reading our in-depth reviews, but when you need a quick fix, a Just Buy This recommendation can save the day. To find out which products have our new seal of approval, just head to which.co.uk/justbuythis. That's which.co.uk/justbuythis. And get it right with Which.
Hello! What you are about to hear is the free version of a podcast where we tell you everything you need to know about Microsoft ending security support for Windows 10. Which members can get access to the full podcast where we talk about some of our laptop reviews and reveal some of our best buys. You can listen to that on our website at which.co.uk/member-podcasts or in our app. If you're not already a member, don't forget that podcast listeners like you can get 50% off the first year of a membership right now by going to which.co.uk/podcast offer. And both of those links are in the show notes. But in this free version, there's still plenty of advice from our tech experts. It's not long to go now until Microsoft, sort of, pulls the plug on Windows 10. This is everything that you need to know. Welcome to this podcast from Which. Hello, thanks for joining us today. I'm James Rowe, and this is really a part 2 of a podcast that we brought you back in April. So back then, we told you about how Microsoft is ending security support for its widely used Windows 10 operating system. Now, that effectively means that if you continue to use it after October the 14th, you could be vulnerable to hackers. Now, we discussed loads about it earlier in the year, but to bring you up to speed, I've got Which Tech Editor Lisa Barber with me. Lisa, how are you?
Hi, James. I'm well, thank you. How about yourself?
Oh, good, thank you. Nice to have you back with us. And alongside Lisa, our resident laptops expert, Oliver Trebilcock. Oliver, how are you?
I'm great.
There's plenty to discuss on this one. Now, should say it's part 2, isn't it? So we joined together here in the studio back in April to discuss what was going to happen. Do you want to bring us up to speed, Lisa? What's the big story about Windows 10? What's actually happening in about a week's time?
Yes, certainly. Well, official support for Windows 10 is ending on the 14th of October this year. That means after that date, Microsoft's no longer going to offer fixes or security updates unless you take action. And that's the key thing in this, in that you can take action. If you do nothing, you're going to be vulnerable to hackers. After the October the 14th date, if you do nothing, Windows 10 is still going to function, but you're not going to get those key security updates. And I mean, I work really closely with our scams team. And one thing we know, if there's a big thing happening that affects lots of people, be it cybercrime in major shops, anything like that, then the hackers start getting involved. They are going to target people. They're going to exploit weaknesses and they're going to want to steal your data. So if you've got a Windows 10 PC, you've probably already seen notifications telling you about the end of support. You may not yet have been given options to extend your license, which we're going to talk about more in a minute, because that's currently being rolled out across PC users. For anyone who's eligible for Windows 11, you'd already have seen the option to upgrade for free. However, not all PCs with Windows 10 will have the specs to upgrade. If you've got a desktop, you might be thinking, I could upgrade some of the components. There's one thing in that that's really hard to tweak, and it's a security feature called TPM 2.0. It depends on the motherboard you've got. If you've got a PC and it's running Windows 7 or 8.1, you're not going to be able to upgrade. That is just too old, basically.
So why is it happening? Why are Microsoft getting rid of security support for Windows 10?
Well, Windows 10's now been around for around a decade. So although it might seem newer than it actually is, it's actually a pretty old operating system now. It's getting a bit dated, especially in the security features. So that's why Windows 11 has come along with upgraded security features to basically keep your data better secure for the future. So that's the main idea why we've got a new operating system coming along.
And there's still a lot of people who use Windows 10. Surely there's a lot of people possibly listening to us right now who at home have got a Windows 10 device, right?
Yeah, it's one of the most popular operating systems globally. I mean, there's a reason for that as well, is if your PC is working as you expect. I know this because we get emails from tech subscribers as well. They are not happy about this at all. And I completely understand if your PC's working, why should you have to get a new one? I mean, there are alternatives you can do to actually buying a new PC if yours doesn't meet the spec for Windows 11. But I completely understand that people aren't happy about this. But as Oliver said, security features have moved on. There are more hackers, there are more scams. Think back 10 years ago and now think about all the phishing attempts you get exposed to. Scams are out there, scammers are out there. So I kind of understand why this is happening.
And what's happened since we last spoke? We did the first podcast, didn't we, back in April? There's been a few tweaks and changes to this process. What's new, Lisa?
Right. The major thing is Microsoft is now offering a way to extend your Windows 10 license for a year for free. Previously, when we talked about this, you'd have to pay to get that extension, but now they're offering it for free. It's not automatic, though. So when we were discussing earlier, you've got to take action. You've got to take action to take advantage of this. On your Windows 10 computer's Windows Update screen, that's in Settings, when you check for updates, when your PC's been enrolled in the scheme, and again, going back to, they're going to gradually roll this out across PC users.
So this might not have happened to some people yet.
It might not have happened yet. Don't worry, it will do. There are 3 ways in which you can get this extension. The first, you back up your settings to OneDrive, which is Microsoft's cloud storage. It's only a tiny amount of your allowance. You get about 5 gig for free. It won't take up anything of that, so do not worry about that. The second one, which is really fiddly, is you can earn if you've earned 1,000 Microsoft reward points, you get enrolled in the 1-year extension. My favourite, and the one that I'd recommend to my own friends and family, is back up those settings for free. You're getting that 1-year license. That gives you more time. That gives you time to kind of do your research about what you want to upgrade to. It means Black Friday sales, January sales time. Now, the final one is you could pay. It's about £25. I can't understand why you'd want to pay. I've been thinking about this. But again, the one that I'm recommending to people is back up those settings, save your money, and buy yourself some time.
So, and that would go for anybody, I guess. Is that just a very good blanket bit of advice to say, get that extension? It gives you a little bit more leeway, it gives you a bit more time to think about what you really want to do long term.
Yeah, entirely so. But the key thing is take action and do it, because you're buying yourself time and you're not exposing your data to hackers. Your PC won't be at risk if you take out the extension, but it's only for 1 year. So you've got until the 13th of October, 2026.
Okay, that gives us a bit of a full hard deadline then, doesn't it, for about a year's time. When we discussed it last time, obviously we were talked about how it would cost originally, and there is still that payment option if you would choose to do it. But why is it free now? Do we almost feel like this is a bit of an admission from Microsoft that they needed to do more to help more people, do we think?
I think that's probably the case. We know that there are millions and millions of people on Windows 10 PCs that cannot be upgraded to Windows 11. And I think we've certainly seen statistics that people are just not upgrading fast enough. So there's going to be lots of PCs come November that are still running Windows 10 and haven't been upgraded. So I think this is Microsoft's admission that they need to give more options, and probably that a lot of people, if they have to pay or just leave it and put themselves at risk, they're just going to leave it. So it's, I think Microsoft wanting to keep people's systems a bit more secure.
And aside from taking out that extension, are there any other options, Oliver, that people may want to consider?
Yeah, so if you've got an old PC and you're considering it and you don't want to pay for a new computer, which is totally understandable because the new ones cost hundreds of pounds, other options would include converting your Windows 10 PC to a different operating system. The most popular one would be Linux. And then if you've got an older laptop, you could also consider converting that to Chrome OS, which is a simpler, more online-focused operating system that is popular in some circles because it's quite simple to use, but doesn't offer the same level of features as more complex operating systems. And then another thing some people will consider is upgrading your desktop PC's components. But as we said, that's tricky with some of the security requirements for Windows 11 especially. That's probably only if you're an enthusiast that you'd consider that. So yeah, the main options, if you are do have a desktop, would be either building your own new PC or getting a new computer.
And in terms of changing the operating system to Linux or something like that, I know you're a tech expert, but for the general public, how easy is that? Is it straightforward, or?
It's relatively straightforward. There's online guidance on this sort of thing that you can just follow blindly and it will work. But when you're working with your old computer, you should expect some challenges in some cases. So it very much depends, and it depends on your specifications of your computer to what you can get. So, and there's different versions of Linux, of course. It's not just one operating system. You can get different versions. So not quite as simple as you might think, but you need to choose which one, like Ubuntu or Mint or whatever you're going to go for. And then you're all set. And it should be fairly similar to Windows when all is said and done, but there is a transition to be made there.
Subscribers of Which Tech magazine, we did have step-by-step guidance on how to convert your PC to Linux, and we're going to have some advice online very shortly as well.
And we will pop some links in the show notes that'll help you at home out with that kind of thing. Should we talk about buying a new device entirely? Just some general advice here, because a little bit later on we'll be getting into some of our reviews and some of the laptops and whatnot that we recommend. But in terms of buying a new laptop, when do you think is a good time? I'm thinking about the time of year we're at now, and we've got Black Friday and Christmas, and then I guess the New Year sales coming up. When's a good time?
Yeah, so if first things first is to get your extension to Windows 10 all sorted by October, and then after that, in theory, you've got a full year to get this done. But if you leave it, you're going to get close up to that deadline if you're not too careful about it. So I think you should start thinking about this quite early. And as we're moving into the winter period, there are obviously going to be great deals on laptops and desktops in the run up to, especially to Black Friday. So that would be a great time to be thinking about this. And we also have a laptops deals page that we're going to be regularly updating all the way through the winter period. So that's a great place to look if you're looking for a new laptop.
One thing I would say, every year, Black Friday, at which we have a big announcement that says the sales aren't as good as they seem. But the ones that we are flagging on our laptop deal content, myself and Oliver, we both work on those. These are genuinely good deals on models that we recommend. So you can trust them. We work very hard on that, don't we, Oliver?
Yes, we do. We do. We go through everything with fine-tooth comb.
So if people were to head to that page, again, we can pop that link in the show notes. People will be able to look at the models on there and know, A, they're a good model, and B, they're a good price.
Yeah, we have a pricing engine that makes sure that the prices there are showing you exactly what the average price is and how good a deal it is. So it's a great place to look and know you're definitely getting a good deal.
Very good. In terms of this process then that we go through, for a lot of people who will end up buying a new device, I guess part of that process would be also getting rid of their current device. I'm almost at a point where I'm a bit concerned about how many old laptops and desktop computers are just going to be thrown in the bin effectively. Surely that's not the right process. Is there something a bit different that we should do?
You're not the only person worried about this. Again, we've had lots of emails from tech subscribers and also Which subscribers worried about that they're going to end up in landfill. However, there are things that you can do to make sure you're disposing of it responsibly. First of all, if you're buying a new computer under the Waste Electrical and Electronic Equipment Directive, the acronym is WE.
A lot of E's on there.
Yeah, which is easier to say. If you're buying your new computer from a retailer, they're legally obliged to help you safely and responsibly dispose of your old one. There are part exchange schemes as well from shops and online marketplaces, the Currys trading scheme. You're trading in your old tech to get some money off your next buy. You can responsibly recycle. The Recycle Your Electricals website, that's a really good place to start because it'll tell you where you can donate locally. Another thing you could do is donate to a charity. The Restart Project website, that lets you search for nearby charities, which is very handy. You could also offer it for free on local social media sites. I mean, you might not want to switch over to Linux, but there may be someone out there who is willing to do it and for a free computer. But the main thing is you've got to wipe your data. You don't want to have sort of your old account sign-ins on there, your bank details, anything like that on there. We've got this information on our website, how to factory reset a Windows 10 PC. And tech members, you're going to have this information in your October-November issue of Tech Magazine.
How important is that? Do you want to just really hammer this point home? Because I feel we're all conscious about our data nowadays, aren't we? About whose hand it's going to end up in. If you were to just donate it or recycle it wherever without wiping that data, goodness knows whose hands it could end up in. That's a really big point that we should really try and reiterate here, isn't it?
It's absolutely crucial to do that. I mean, if you think about your computer ending up in the wrong hands and someone's then able to get access to your bank, or they could get access to your social media accounts, they could fish your family, they could fish your friends, things like that. Even down to, most people are good people, so even down to, do you want someone else to be able to see your photographs? Most people don't. It's private. So definitely wipe that PC.
Well, we're going to keep this conversation going now for our Which members. If you'd like to hear that, just head to which.co.uk/member-podcasts and click on the Windows 10 one at the top of the page. Again, if you're not already a member, podcast listeners like you can get 50% off your first year's membership by heading to which.co.uk/podcast offer. That'll give you access to all of our member-exclusive podcasts, as well as our product reviews and a whole load more benefits. You can find out more about that and plenty more advice in the show notes. But for now, Lisa, thanks very much.
Thanks, James.
And Oliver, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this podcast from Which, the UK's consumer champion. You can find plenty more advice about what we discussed today in the show notes. There you'll also find a link to become a Which member for 50% off the usual price, an offer exclusively available to you, our podcast listeners. Joining Which will not only give you access to all of our product reviews, our app, one-to-one personalised buying advice and every issue of Which magazine across the year, but you'll also be helping us to make life simpler, fairer and safer for everyone. Don't forget to hit subscribe wherever you're listening. That way you'll be notified whenever we release a new episode of Which Money, Which Shorts, or another podcast that we make for you. And if you want to get in touch with us, then follow us on social media. We're at Which UK, or you can drop us an email to podcasts@which.co.uk. See you next time.
If you're enjoying this podcast from us here at Which, then why not become a Which member? Right now, we've got a special offer, especially for podcast listeners, meaning you can choose any of our 3 membership tiers for 50% off the usual price. Starting at just £39.50 for a full year, you can get Which magazine delivered direct to your door. For the same price, you could also choose a digital Which subscription, giving you access to all of our product reviews, the Which app, and the digital edition of Which magazine. What's more, you'll also be able to use the Ask Which service for personalised one-to-one buying advice. Or why not get a full access Which subscription for just £49.50 for a full year? Don't forget, that's 50% off the usual price. To join Which or to find out more, just head to which.co.uk/podcast offer. That's which.co.uk/podcast offer. Or click the link in the description for today's podcast for 50% off a Which annual subscription.